All right, what is up? We are live. Have a poll question up. Then I'm going to jump into the running order. Then I'm going to jump into what you guys want to talk about. Shaw already jumping in here saying weird race, interesting overall, but weird. I will agree with that analysis. But the poll question is thoughts on the race. NASCAR micromanaged it to death. Every aspect of it was a disaster. I don't know. I was getting snacks. I feel alive again. It was so good. Those are the poll question options. So, tongue in cheek, having fun with it. But let's take a look at the finishing order. Let's start with stage one, see who got all the stage points there. Seabell leads stage one and gets the 10 bonus points there. In stage two, he finished seventh. So he ends up getting the second most stage points, I want to say. Joey Logano gets the most stage points, and that's going to come in big for him later on. But there you go. Christopher Bell wins stage one. Denny Hamlin wins stage two, and then for the and I guess we'll just read off the stage points if you want to keep score at home. Here, 10th place in stage one was Alex Bowman, Tyler Reddick, Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Josh Berry, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, and Christopher Bell. Stage two, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Joey Logano, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, Todd Gilliland, Kyle Larson, Josh Berry, Chase Elliott, and Ross Chastain getting one stage point there in 10th place in stage two. Now let's go to the finishing order for the race. Christopher Bell, of course, the man of the hour, win number 3 on the season, and that puts Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, William Byron, and Denny Hamlin as your big four this year. Those are the big four, the only drivers that have multiple wins, and each of those drivers have 3 wins apiece. So looking like those are going to be, as it stands right now, have to be your playoff favorites. So big win for Christopher Bell here. Chase Briscoe, depending on which teammate he's going to be, he was either a really good teammate to Christopher Bell by racing the heck out of Josh Berry for second, or he was a really bad teammate to Josh Berry if you're looking at it from a Stewart Haas perspective. But aggressively raced for second place there, ended up getting it, but definitely cost Josh Berry, who I think probably had a faster car, his chance at passing Christopher Bell and maybe winning this race. Kyle Larson ends up in fourth. Excuse me. Kyle Larson ends up in fourth place here. Interesting day for Kyle Larson overall. Chris Buescher, he was in the top 10 pretty much for good parts of the day. Had a fast car for sure. Jumbled up race. Tyler Reddick, for looked like he was going to steal this one, but they finally did get the track dry. So good strategy call overall by the 45 team. Just a great move for them. Period. Ends up in sixth place. Good finish. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Big for Slick Rick there. John Hunter Nemechek, he's a wet weather specialist. He kept it out of the wall in the rain and in the dry. Eighth place finish for the 42 car. Martin Truex Jr., he looked like he could give Christopher Bell some problems at points in this race, but then he had that bad pit stop there toward the end of or at the very beginning, I guess I should say, of the third stage. And then he wrecked later on in the race, but still was able to recover to get a ninth place finish. Ross Chastain, up and down race, but he ends up in 10th place. Then you got Ryan Preece here finishing in 11th. Good finish for him. He needed that. That's a big finish for them. Todd Gilliland, good run for Stewart Haas Racing today. Even Noah Gragson was up there at points until he sort of got his tires in the paint there. When it was wet, and that cost him his good finish. Todd Gilliland finishes in 12th. Eric Jones, 13th. Good run for Eric Jones. Good run for Legacy. All the Legacy cars in the top 15. And here we go, 14th place. This is where I wanted to be, and this is who I wanted to talk about. Good run for Harrison Burton. He is definitely a wet weather specialist. There was a point in this race where just on speed alone, Harrison Burton was in 7th place. He did a great job today. He gets a lot of hate, and a lot of people don't want him in that 21 car, but he did his job today. He got that 14th place finish. So kudos to the Wood brothers. Kudos to Harrison Burton. Michael McDowell finishes in 15th. The Long John Silver man. He eats a Long John Silver's. He has Long John Silver's on the hood, and a man like that, he doesn't care about your feelings. He's just going for race wins, and that's what he did today. Unfortunately, it was at the expense of Ryan Blaney and ruined Ryan Blaney's day. Let's see, and here's the rest of your running order. Ty Gibbs, 16th. Carson Hocevar, who had some speed today, but a lot of issues as well, finishes 17th. He had the spin. He pitted outside of his box, all kinds of problems with it. It was a fast car. Chase Elliott ends up in 18th place. He was in the top 10 for a good portion of this race. Austin Cindric 19th. Ty Dillon finishes in 20th place. Good top 20 finish for Ty Dillon in select starts here. That's the best. That's the highest up I can remember Ty Dillon finishing in quite some time. So the 16 car, good run for them. Daniel Suarez 21st, Kaz Grala 22nd. At the what is it? Oh man, what was his sponsor? Was it Meat and Bone? Was his sponsor Meat and Bone? Anyway, interesting sponsor there for Kaz Grala. Corey LaJoy 23rd, Denny Hamlin 24th. I don't know what happened to Hamlin. The wet weather tires didn't suit him, I guess. Ryan Blaney in that wreck, of course. William Byron, I don't remember him ever being really in the race today. Noah Gragson, of course, I got the tires on the paint, and that ruined his day. Brad Keselowski, I don't know exactly what happened to him other than he spun at the very end, but he seemed like he had a pretty decent car other than that today. Justin Haley, 29th. Zane Smith, 30th. Daniel Hemrick, 31st. Joey Logano, 32nd. But those stage points are going to help him out. We'll get to the points here in just a minute. Austin Dillon, 33rd. Bubba Wallace, 34th. Kyle Busch, 35th. Terrible day for RCR. Austin Dillon at one point had worked his way all the way back up into the top 20 after going down a lap early, and he looked like he was going to fight and have like a typical Austin Dillon day where you're like, how did that guy get to 19th or 15th or whatever, and then gets caught up in somebody else's wreck. And that was his day. Bad day for RCR. Kyle Busch, oh God, something broke on the car again, and he wrecked under caution. Alex Bowman blew an engine early on in the race, 142 laps into it apparently, and that ended Alex Bowman's day. All right, there's your running order. Let's jump over here into the playoff points. I don't have the regular season points just yet, but the playoff points are up. And as it stands right now, your points leader would be Kyle Larson. I don't have the rest of the points, but I do have that. And he leads. He would have, if the playoffs started today, he would have 620. So he's the regular season points leader, 3 wins. Denny Hamlin second, also 3 wins. Seabell third, also 3 wins. And William Byron fourth, also 3 wins. Like I said, those are your big 4 looking like your favorites for the championship. Don't sleep on Chase Elliott, though. He's had a nice season. Looks like he's tied for first here with Kyle Larson, but the tiebreaker would go to wins. But 620 points apiece for Larson and Chase Elliott. So technically they're tied, but I think with the tiebreaker being wins, you would have to tip it right now to Kyle Larson. But Tyler Reddick here in 6th place, Ryan Blaney in 7th, Brad Keselowski 8th, Daniel Suarez 9th, Austin Cindric 10th. Those are all the drivers with wins. Now the drivers trying to race their way in on points. Here's where it gets interesting. Martin Truex Jr. is 11th. 12th place is Ross Chastain. 13th place for Tyler Rockin' Randall Gibbs. Alex Bowman, 14th place. That bad finish really hurts Alex Bowman. He was, I want to say, in the top 10 in points before this. He is now 14th. Chris Buescher in 16th, and Joey Logano would be your last driver in right now. Bubba Wallace with his wreck in this race, or whatever he was caught up. I think he was caught up in one. I don't know if he actually wrecked himself. I can't remember off the top of my head. But that cost him his playoff position. He is now the first man on the outside looking in at minus 203. So he looks like he's about maybe 13 points behind Joey Logano, if I'm doing my math correctly. Then you got Chase Briscoe behind him and Kyle Busch in 19th. And then Todd Gilliland making his way into the top 20 there. So those are your first 4 on the outside looking in. Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, and Todd Gilliland. Now let's see what you guys want to talk about, because there's plenty to talk about. So I don't even have to bring up all the other stuff, because I'm sure you guys are going to bring up the overall weirdness that was this race. I would like things more if I didn't feel like NASCAR was intentionally trying to confuse me or make me mad. So yes, I agree with you. Micromanagement of this race was a huge factor. They should have left the teams pick what kind of tires they wanted, when they wanted to put them on, and things like that. I 100% agree with you there. Man, painful as a Byron fan, says Seikal. Yeah, Byron did not have a great day today. Let's see. BB, that one was one of the greatest races in NASCAR history, says OJ and Toothpaste. On Earth 2, without question. Earth 1, I'm not sure about it. Sucks Haley didn't get the finish he deserved. So, yeah, I didn't mention that when I was going through the running order. Justin Haley was having a top 5 run. I do not know what happened to him, but I feel like something happened in that top 10 that we missed on a replay or something like that, because Harrison Burton was running 7th. Justin Haley was running 5th. Something happened there, and those guys fell back. So I'm not exactly sure of what happened. Brickyard saying tale of two races. Yeah, some people, and I did take a picture when the red flag came out to see where people were running, and then after the red flag came out to see who the wet weather tires benefited and who they didn't. I'll save that for the episode that I'm going to make here in a little while. The most important thing I took away from this race was what did past winners do with the lobster, says Shy. Yeah, so me and Shy had a conversation on the Discord talking about we would just put a leash on it and make it a pet lobster. Like we wouldn't immediately eat it. We would make it a pet lobster, and I said I would name him Red. I would name him Red. My pet lobster would be named Red. Say Kyle say I almost wish they called the race at rain. Last 80 laps were so micromanaged it ruined it for me. That's kind of where I'm falling at it as well. Say Kyle that it got to a point where I started just pulling for stuff to go wrong. Like that's where I was at. I was like, I hope when Michael McDowell wiped him out right before that caution started, I hope somebody sends it in there and just wipes out the field. And that happened. I was like, good. And now I hope they just keep having cautions till it goes dark. Like I was pulling for the chaos at that point because NASCAR had so micromanaged this race. That's why I feel like this is a bigger victory for Christopher Bell because he had the faster car today, I want to say. And no matter what NASCAR engineered or micromanaged or however you want to say it, he still came out on top. He still figured out a way to win. So good for him and his team. And Tyler Reddick also, his team with some good pit strategy, getting him a nice, good finish as well. Had one of KB's worst days. He was lapped straight up through seventh place before the end of stage one. How is it possible that RCR is this bad, says Ron Russell. They've struggled for the last 2 or 3 years at short tracks. And so this, if you're following RCR or have been like I am, because I was an Earnhardt fan, I always follow RCR, one of my favorite teams for sure. They've unfortunately struggled at short tracks. And it wasn't any better today. I was actually really surprised at Iowa last weekend that they had a lot of speed on a short track type race. Racing in the rain puts Goodyear to shame. Like, who's going to go out there on a set of Goodyears tomorrow, says Krusty. Yeah, it wasn't a good deal. And part of the problem is NASCAR forced them to put those wet weather tires on when the track was basically dry, which made those tires look even worse than they probably should have looked. Harrison Burton sighting, says Krusty. Yeah, old Harrison Burton, man. He got it done today. JTD, Harrison Burton beat my favorite driver, says I say Kyle. Yep, old Harrison Burton. He is a specialist. He is a wet weather specialist. So from now on, when it rains, if Harrison Burton's not in the Cup Series next year, he will be getting the call when it rains to be the wet weather driver for some of these teams. Worst race ever, says Holly Golden. I can't necessarily disagree with you on that there. Holly, I do agree. 15 was Meat and Bone. Yeah, Meat and Bone. So it is Meat and Bone. I know it from the in-car camera because he was in front of Byron the whole race. Pathetic, says say Kyle. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with Byron. The only thing I can think of is when he made some contact there, was it Corey LaJoy? Corey LaJoy chopped down in front of him. After, I think he might have got some splitter damage, if I'm guessing. I'm just totally guessing. But it looked like he had a pretty decent car up until that point. But when he rear-ended the 7 car, it looked like his race was never the same after that. I tell you what, Channel 3, Racing with Burton and the crew chief wants a caution to go home. They cried all weekend, says Tony. Keeping the complaints rolling under caution are NBC commentators' worst ever. I'm pretty sure I'm going to hear the word playoffs again. I'm going to throw up, says Krusty. Ty Dillon, better place than Austin. I love it, says Shy. Yeah, Ty Dillon, a great race, man. 20th place for Ty Dillon. That is awesome. A good finish for him. Got a super chat here from Mustang 2006. Appreciate you, my friend. And here is the fist bump for you. Hey, Baloney Burger, great content. I feel horrible for Rick Ware and Justin Haley and everybody on that team. Not only him, but Kaz Gralla had a good race going as well. They're showing out this year. Rick Ware Racing is not the same Rick Ware Racing that we remember. They're doing a great job for sure, and they just didn't get the finish. Like I said, I don't know. I want to see what happened. I feel like something happened because there's no way Harrison Burton fell that far back, and also Justin Haley fell that far back. I feel like something happened. I feel like toward the end of that race, people just got roughed up and got rough and rowdy, and I think that had a lot to do with it. I'll probably watch the race replays and see if I can see something that they didn't necessarily talk about on the television. And I'm not blaming them. There was a lot going on at the end. I don't know that anybody that's sane could have kept up with all of it. Kyle Busch looked like someone that regrets taking his new job at RCR. I don't think he had much of a choice there, Joe Swooten. I saw a few people say that he's upset that he went to a new place. He didn't have a whole lot of choice, and people like to throw up, well, Joe Gibbs said he'd sponsor him himself for 1 year. Joe Gibbs said that, but did Joe Gibbs do it? Let's see. Sponsor Meat and Bone. Motto: You can lick our chops, but you can't beat our meat. Says Brickyard. Krusty saying LOL. Krusty saying the playoffs. Playoffs. We're just trying to win a race. Gonna plant my flag this on this hill. Haas Cup keeps Barry and Childers, and Custer stays in Xfinity with his dad. I mean, that would be an optimal situation. Except I feel like Cole Custer at some point should get a shot at the Cup Series as well. NASCAR and sports. If you look, and I meant to make a video about this the other week, but if you pull up Cole Custer's numbers and you pull up Chase Briscoe's numbers, they are literally identical. Literally identical numbers. Wondering when they're in the Cup Series. Wondering if there's any chatter among Chevy and Ford teams about why the number 20 always seems so much faster than anyone else. He seems to be doing something not even like what the rest of the Toyotas are doing. Like when the rest of the Toyotas are fast, he seems to be a little bit slower. They seem to be on their Adam Stevens and him seem to be doing their own thing over there. It's kind of reminiscent of Rodney Childers and Kevin Harvick, in my opinion. Somebody tell McDowell that you got to make the corner to win the race, says Tim Brace. Indeed. And he was trying to. Well, what really happened there, Tim Brace, is Ryan Blaney didn't do his job of holding the 34 down so that he didn't wreck both of them. Ryan Blaney is supposed to drive so far into him that they both slide up and they both keep going. So it's really Ryan Blaney's fault. I'm joking. That was a low percentage move, as Ryan Blaney said. But you understand where he's coming from. He's trying to get the win so he can get into the playoffs because he knows that's basically his only chance. So he was all in. He was going for it there. I was just happy to see Ford represent once again, says Bruce Reed. Yeah, Fords were definitely fast today. The only Chevrolet I really saw up there was Kyle Larson, and that a lot of that was due to pit strategy at points. I was annoyed with Denny. It looked like he was not racing but blocking, says Duke Chronic. I don't know what happened to Denny Hamlin at the end. Like he had on slick tires, he was pretty fast, but once it went to rain tires, he I don't know. I don't know what happened. And then there was the contact. So I guess we should mention this a little bit. Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin, like Denny Hamlin was just roughing up Kyle Larson, and Kyle Larson's spotter comes on there and tells him he's going to keep doing that to you until you do something about it, or you're letting him do that. That's why he keeps doing it. And Kyle Larson told him to shut the F up. So I agree. I'm as big a Kyle Larson fan as you're ever going to meet, but I actually agree with the spotter there. Like Kyle Larson's got to man up. Like the way he drove Ryan Blaney the 12, that's the way he needs to be driving Denny Hamlin. Like where was that energy when you were racing Denny Hamlin? You need to be getting into the side of Denny Hamlin the way you got into the side of Ryan Blaney there. Like that. I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of his response to that, especially because and nothing against Denny Hamlin. Look, I don't even blame Denny Hamlin. If Kyle Larson isn't going to do anything about it and I'm Denny Hamlin, I'll keep driving him the exact same way. I mean, it's the jungle. You either eat or get eaten. So right now, if Kyle Larson is going to let Denny Hamlin eat him because they golf together and they're buddies like that, then, I mean, it's going to keep being the same story over and over again. Kyle Larson has got to, he doesn't necessarily have to wreck Denny Hamlin, but he's got to show him like, hey, look, you touch me again, you're getting touched back. Like that's all there is to it. So he's got to stand up for himself against Denny Hamlin and stop. I can't say it on YouTube. He can't let Denny Hamlin keep making him his B. So I'll put it that way. I'd make Lobster King, King of the Lobster Corral, and put a lobster in jail at Red Lobster. Says Krusty. Kind of turned into a NASCAR experiment. Yeah, it was so bad at the end. It didn't feel much like a race so much as we were watching a practice. Or an experiment, as you put it there, Brickyard Brickhead. Good points. Shaw saying weird race, interesting but weird. I agree. BB, will Kyle Busch win this year, says OJ and Toothpaste. I think he still gets a win. RCR is really good at 1.5s and super speedways, so I'm not going to count him up. What's up in between the lanes on Earth 2? NASCAR knows how to run a wet race, says Bruce Garvey. That's for sure. Byron, they just missed the setup. They can't even say the 7 spin gave him problems. William Byron radio at the end. F this effing pathetic. Let's get it next week. F this place. It was bad, says I say Kyle. So there you go. Willie B, just not a good day. They just missed the setup. Happens from time to time. Let's see. Ring the bell. Christopher Bell wins, sweeps the Magic Mile. He does sweep the Magic Mile. I forgot about that. So good for him. Best thing about the wet weather tire is teams have no data on it, so it helps level the playing field a little bit. That's a good point. Good point, Dirty Def. What's up, James? Good to see you on here, my friend. In between the lanes, I hate it for Kyle Busch. Yeah, he's having a nightmare season. Like people can say what they want to about RCR. The equipment has been fast at times, but when the equipment is fast, they just have god awful bad luck, and it's all of RCR. Austin Dillon has had speed at times and has god awful bad luck, and it's not just them wrecking; they're getting caught up in other people's stuff. Engines are expiring, parts are breaking, our pets' heads are falling off. I mean, things are just it's just they need to hire an exorcist to walk into RCR and get rid of the demons. Like Kyle Busch's car, they need to take that and either bury it in a field or burn it. That car is cursed. Get rid of it. They never need to look at it again because I've never seen anything quite as bad as that car was today. What a comeback finish for Mayetta, New Jersey legend, and it's painful to watch, man. Because I'm an RCR man, so it's tough to watch. And I know those guys over there are working really hard on that stuff, but it's just been one of those seasons where they have bad luck, and there's really not much to do about it. Speaker on mute right now, waiting for Dad to go to sleep. I got you, James Melee. So hopefully I don't wake anybody up. Let's see. What a comeback finish for me at a New Jersey legend and defending New Hampshire race winner Martin Truex Jr. It was quite the comeback. DraftKings scheme looked good, says in between the lanes. Yeah, it had sort of like a Miami football feel to it, I thought. Always thought Cole Custer and Chase Briscoe were the same person, says Krusty. They've got pretty similar results. One has a little bit better hair than the other one. Let's see. And one has also the same one with the better hair also has really good tackling technique. BB, I have no issue with Custer, but Haas keeping Childers is the most important thing. I agree with you, Shaw, 100%. In my opinion, Custer can always replace Barry if he doesn't work out. For sure. NASCAR continues to make amazingly bad decisions. Seems like the racing is still good in spite of the people in charge. Perry Earl, that's a great comment. That is a great comment. In spite of everything going on, the teams and drivers are still putting on good shows. 24 hours of Loudon, says X Dude. I saw a lot of people saying the 6 hours of Loudon, so apparently it was about 6 hours. Michael McDowell is taking Ryan Blaney out to Long John Silver's after the race, says in between the lanes. Logan got into Chase Elliott. Long John Silver's is good. I actually like Long John Silver's. Let's see here. Logano got into Elliott. Yeah, so Elliott actually overcame some adversity too. Good point. Like so much was going on, but yeah, good points there in between the lanes. NASCAR killed the race with so many caution laps during the end of the race. Wet tires made it interesting until NASCAR ran caution lap after caution lap. I think that's a fair point. Chase Elliott had a chance until Joey Logano, says Joseph Wooten. So yeah, good point there as well. For some reason, Kyle will get rough with other drivers, but with Denny, seems like he likes to get run over. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And I think it's because they're basically like good friends and golfing buddies. But I feel like Denny Hamlin, which is to his credit, Sly like a fox, he's leveraging that friendship to rough up Kyle Larson on the racetrack. And like I said, if Kyle Larson isn't going to do anything about it, I don't blame Denny Hamlin to continue to do it. It just helps him get better finishes. Touch him first for a change, says Dirty Death. That probably wouldn't be a bad idea because this goes farther. It goes super far back. But just think about last weekend. Denny Hamlin was a lap down and he bumped Kyle Larson out of the way, moved him completely out of the groove. It's getting pretty bad. Kyle Larson at some point is going to have to stick up for himself out there, friend or not. Let's see. No more KFB. Now it's KWB, Kyle Reckenbush. Says Delmar Kaufman. Shy Nice, LOL, says in between the lanes. Rough day in Dinwiddie today. Motorsports Park. John Forrest lived up to his name with that crash. Dude's 75 years old, still burning rubber. Prayers to the old fella. Yes, so good point, Krusty. Thoughts and prayers go out to John Forrest. He had a bad wreck today, and hopefully he's okay from it, and nothing bad happens. Let's see, BD. Will Kyle Petty ever race in Cup again? I don't know. I probably not, but you never know. Earth 2, it's a waiting. Levels the playing field because laps under caution, says Krusty. Was Denny trying to win or protect his driver? I have no idea. What was happening today. Kyle Petty is lucky he can still drive regular vehicles. I would say Denny Hamlin was probably trying to win, though. Laughing my butt off, says Shaw. I'm late tonight, so sorry if it's already been covered, but I wish NASCAR would have just let the teams choose what tires they ran if and whenever they wanted to, says Grizz. Yeah, I'm with you, Grizz. I'm in the exact same boat. I think Denny was hitting the guys racing his car, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, I don't know, but he seemed under the red flag. He seemed pretty mad, like he wanted to be the guy winning. So I don't know if he was actually trying to help him or not. I'll be shocked, but he could be. I'll be shocked if KFB wins before the playoffs. I'm not saying he wins before the playoffs, but I'm saying he does have a chance of winning. I'd be shocked if KFB wins before the playoffs. Best chances, in my opinion, are Pocono, Bristol Night Race. I don't think they'll have raw speed at Pocono, though, says Say Kyle. Yeah, Pocono's a tricky track. You either hit the setup there or you don't. So it's just going to depend on that. John Hunter with an 8th place finish. Heck of a rally. Yeah, good run for John Hunter Nemechek as well. Legacy Motor Club, all their drivers in the top 15. Eric Jones was 13th, 14th, somewhere in there. A heck of a rally by Ross. Agreed, Dirty Def. Ross, he spun pretty late in this race and ends up with a 10th place finish. So good run for him. And he got a playoff point in there somewhere too. I remember seeing that. Heck of a rally by Ross. He had gotten up to around 5th before he spun. Says Dirty Def. Going to the big race at Sobo Saturday, BB, says Krusty. Yep, we'll be there with Tate Fogelman and possibly another super secret driver. We'll have to see what happens with that. What's up, Burger? What's up on the go with CeeLo? What's up, CeeLo? Cody Ledger, NBC gets an F today. Should have showed 6 hours of the Glen. Finished during the delay. Then have IndyCar complete shaft after NASCAR race. 3 good races overall. Chase Briscoe should pray for rain for the rest of his career, says X Dude. First, it was Truex in the 22, Elliott in the 23. In the 24, it's going to be Kyle's off year. I hope not, says Mustang 06. HMS, don't put a lot of effort into that or Nashville, says Duke Chronic, talking about New Hampshire. RC is a diehard Chevy guy, but I feel like it's time to change, says Escobar. Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever see that. I don't know. It could happen, though. It's been a crazy season, so I'm never going to say never. I've been trying to give 23 a break. He pulls a bonehead move again, parking in front of the 10 spit, says Brickyard Brickhead. Yeah, that wasn't great. I don't know if he'll get fined for that, but he'll definitely get talked to about it. NASCAR doesn't like shenanigans on pit road because somebody could get hurt, basically. I've been trying to, let's see here, as hard as it is to say, you're spot on about Larson, but I was a 7-time fan before Larson, so I'm used to it, says A1. Yeah, so Jimmy Johnson never really retaliated, hardly ever either. He just stayed focused on the championship. But it comes a point, like if you're getting roughed up by the same guy, at some point you got to do something just to let him know, like, look, bro, you touch me again, I don't care if I win the championship, but I'll make sure you lose it. If I'm Rodney, I'm leaving unless Haas offers an ownership stake. I don't know why he would want to crew chief. What we know will be a rolling poo box in the 1-car team, says Say Kyle. I don't disagree with you, except for the fact that they might team up with Front Row Motorsports. So what if Front Row Motorsports still, I didn't think about this the other day. What if Front Row Motorsports rents out the building, they run it out of Haas, and then Haas associates themselves with Front Row Racing? It would technically kind of be a 4-car team at that point. And then, you're just running Front Row Motorsport stuff with Rodney Childers crew chiefing on it. That could be a situation I see working out nicely. Because according to Bob Pockris, this came out after I made that video, but they do look like they're going to stick with Ford going forward. That race broadcasted, was that race broadcast in Charlotte, says Aaron Flynn. Kyle Larson needs to do some black belt karate on Hamlin, says OJ and Toothpaste. BB, do we need to know if Reese's fine food scheme was run today? Is that our scheme in 2025? I do like that scheme. So I like the little bit of blue highlight in it. So yeah, I think we'll stick with that for you when you jump in the 19 next season. In between the lanes. Larson being friends with Denny is why I like Logano. He has no friends, and that's how it should be, says Shaw. Yeah, whether you believe you've got friends or not, you got no friends on that racetrack, and that's just the way it is and the way it should be. And the sooner everybody learns that, the better off everybody will be. I'm shocked that they went back to racing. This race would have been called in the past. So I just enjoyed seeing them keep running. Yeah, especially with the really high humidity. I think it was 90 to 100% humidity. The fact that they got the race going with that humidity, because the humidity is what killed the race at Charlotte. Remember, they called the race for humidity. So good job on NASCAR for figuring out a way to race in this terrible humidity. Let's see. Sarcasm. Let's see. Oh my God, what was wrong with Team Logano? Cannot understand it, says yeah, I don't know. Joey locked up the brakes and he took himself out basically there. Brad Keselowski is suiting up for the Boston Red Sox this week. Yeah, a little self-spin there toward the end for BK. Kind of ruined his day. Kyle Petty's about 63 years old. I don't see a comeback, says Delmar Kaufman. Yeah, they're just joking around, Delmar. It's just it's Earth 2 fun. Non-competitive pit stops. Yeah, that was a bunch of malarkey too. Like I wasn't a big fan of that. Kyle, that was part of the micromanaging stuff. Kyle Petty should get the 48 car next year, says OC and Toothpaste. John Hunter Nemechek 8th, Eric Jones 13th, says James. So Eric Jones was 13th. So there you go. Nice top 15 for both legacy cars. Good. They needed that. They needed that run for sure. Kyle Petty going to replace Burton in the Wood Brothers car, driving the 7-Eleven Ford Thunderbird, says Krusty. Yep. Throwing it back to when Kyle Petty was a Wood Brothers man. So good job on that one. Even Jimmy had enough of Kurt at Richmond, says Cody Ledger. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. At some point, you got to do something. I mean, when your spotter is getting that pissed off, it's getting bad. So it is what it is. Uh, and like I said, if you're Denny Hamlin, keep doing it until he does something. Like it's only benefiting you. So like I said, I'm not blaming Denny Hamlin if you don't stick up for yourself. I was sort of coming around to Bubba, then he goes and pulls that crap on pit road. Still thinks he's special. Says Shy, yeah, he might. I don't think he'll get fined or maybe some money. But NASCAR, when you play around on pit road, they don't typically like that because pit crew members could get injured. Diehard Earnhardt fans would riot if RCR switched manufacturers and ran Ford or a Japanese number 3, says Grizz. For sure. I don't know. I disagree with you. Tate Fogelman has a win in the truck series at Dega, right? He does. And the sponsor was Solid Rock Trucking for Young's Motorsports or Young Motorsports. Young's Motorsports. Delmar Kaufman, will Deegan be back next year? I think she is last in points. She'll be back as long as she brings sponsors with her. Remember, it took Matt Kenseth a lot to finally retaliate. On Earth 2, RCR has been running Daewoo's for years, for sure. But Senior was running Daewoo's. In fact, Senior owns the Daewoo company over there. He retired and became owner of Daewoo. And brought all that manufacturing back to the United States. Let's see. I'm sure Tate, Mrs. Pass, Super Late Models kid, was a wheelman in a Super. Still is a wheelman. Still is a wheelman, by the way. It doesn't matter what he's driving. BB, I mean, why has Logano? But yeah, he, what was it called? Bull City Motorworks or something like that. Yeah. Him and his dad, Jay Fogelman. Jay Fogelman, by the way, his dad also raced in the Busch Series, number 5 Innkeeper car. Local legend at Orange County. He was really good in late models and had some good runs in the Busch Series as well. And if you're thinking about the era, it would be the same era where Mark Martin was running the number 60 Winn-Dixie car. That's when Tate Fogelman's dad, Jay Fogelman, was running in the Busch Series. BB, I mean, why has Logano been so off all year? Just having a bad year. Teammates doing okay, but Joey is just like, what is going on? They've just been off. They've just missed the setup. So they claim it was the humidity in Charlotte. LOL, says Joseph Wooten. Yep, that's what they were talking about. They couldn't get the track dry because it was too humid. So that's why they canceled it, even though they were fixing to call the drivers back to the cars. In no way, shape, or form did Fox call that race and not NASCAR. But I digress. Woohoo! Won the All-Star. Too bad it really don't matter, says Shy. Yeah, that's one thing I think we should amend. If you win the All-Star, you automatically get into the playoffs. That adds some stakes to the All-Star race and makes it mean something. Let's see. C-Bell got his revenge for the light shortened race a couple years ago. Funny that SHR driver finished second. Good point. I didn't even think about that, Cody. Deegan could run for the Haas team or stay with AM Racing in 2025. That's a good point, James. So, like, if Cole Custer moves up, like a lot of people are predicting, who was it? J Cal Designs. He's saying that it's almost like a Stone Cold lead pipe lock that Cole Custer is moving up. So in that situation, that opens up a Haas seat for Deegan. That you would have to imagine that's better equipment than AM Racing. So she goes over there and possibly gets some more good finishes over there with that car. Joey Logano, or maybe some better finishes than the AM Racing car. Joey Logano and team had some Coke and Hunt Brothers Pizza after the race. Says in between the lanes, Coca-Cola Classic, of course, and Hunt Brothers Pizza. We'll be clear about that. Logano and Busch off years. Says James Maley. Yeah, I agree 100%. I would just say all of RCR. RCR was good last year, got 3 wins. This year, RCR is just off for some reason, except at 1.5s and super speedways. They had some speed at the road course as well, but unfortunately, didn't get all the finishes that they wanted there. Kyle Busch still rallied and got a decent finish, but not the finish that he should have got because he got spun there late. BB, is Harrison Burton better than Ward Burton? Says OJ and Toothpaste. Depends on what earth you're talking about. Ain't nobody better than Ward. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say Ward's universal. Ward is universal better than most everybody on Earth 1 and 2. Win the All-Star and get into the playoffs would be cool, says Shah. That would be cool. After the foot race story today, would like to see a new BB segment, stories from the track, says Brickyard Brickhead. Maybe every once in a while. I don't want to put too much out there. And some of them are not fit for YouTube. It is Family Channel. Custer and Herbst are both likely moving up the Cup. Why I say Deegan might move to Haas Xfinity, says James. Yeah, that's a good point. Riley Herbst could be moving up too. I didn't even think about that. It's a good point. But yeah, she might have a seat over there for sure. Warburton, Cat Skid Steer is a classic. John Boy and Billy, Big Show. Yeah, that clip is awesome for sure. Daniel Robertson saying, "Thank you, McDowell, for performing your crash and burn incident yet again." So, unfortunately, for the Ryan Blaney fans, Daniel Robertson, I feel you on that one. I did not help out Ryan Blaney. I know I was joking about it earlier, but it definitely was a low percentage move and didn't help out anybody. Ward Burton is a 17-time champion on Earth 2. Woo! 17-time champion Ward Burton on Earth 2 for sure. The poll question is up right now. 57% saying NASCAR micromanaged it. 11% saying every aspect of it was a disaster. 13% saying I don't know, I was getting snacks. And I feel alive again. It was so good. Is 19% with 64 votes in so far. If Kyle Busch was running bad, is attributed to RCR being junk, then perhaps Austin Dillon is secretly a great driver all these years. That's what I'm saying. Like, good point, Em. I like to bring this up all the time. When people are talking about Austin Dillon, the RCR equipment is top tier, top notch. Austin Dillon is holding back all this amazing talent in the Xfinity series by continuing to drive it. RCR equipment is good. When the same people are talking about Kyle Busch, RCR equipment is trash. It's holding back Kyle Busch. It's so crazy that they're talking about the same team and they have these different attitudes toward the equipment depending on who they're talking about. It's so hilarious. It's the biggest hypocritical thing, and you see it all the time. I mean, not everybody does it, but you know what I'm talking about. You see it all the time on social media. The same people will be like, RCR is trash. It's holding back Kyle Busch. Austin Dillon needs to get out of the 3 and let somebody else drive that equipment. Let's see, BB, what's the best flavor of wings from Wingstop? And dipping sauce says OJ and toothpaste. Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. If you're getting the boneless wings, it doesn't count. But like if you get like the regular wings, I do like the lemon pepper rub. But if you're getting boneless, I would just go with the regular buffalo sauce. And I'm a blue cheese guy. I don't get too exotic with it. Wingstop is only good if you need a colon cleanse, says Krusty. So Wingstop doesn't agree with Krusty. I will say this about Wingstop. It depends on which one you go to. Some are better than others. It's really crazy the level of inconsistency in Wingstops. Martin Trix Jr. had a long pit stop early on. Whereas McDonald's, you go there, you know it's always going to be bad. Martin Trix Jr. had a long but consistently bad. Consistently mid. I'm not going to say bad. Consistently mid, and now consistently mid and overpriced dramatically. Martin Trix Jr. had a long pit stop early on, trouble with the right rear. Yeah, so that hurt him, and then he wrecked because he got caught back in the middle of the pack like that as well. RCR is a tier 2 or 3 Chevy team at best. Says James. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. My only point I'm making is like when it's Kyle Busch, they're talking about they're so bad, but when they're talking about Austin Dillon, they act like it's like the second coming of Rick Hendrick, and I don't know. It's just a really weird deal. But yeah, I agree. They're a little bit behind Hendrick for sure. On the Chevrolet side of things, and obviously Hendrick is the measuring point. I would say Trackhouse right now is probably the second best Chevrolet team, but RCR is not far behind them. They've just had some super bad luck this year. Without that bad luck, like if they got the finishes they were supposed to get at some of these tracks, I think them and Trackhouse are actually really close. But I mean, Hendrick is Hendrick. They've been the standard for a long time now. If Deegan goes to Haas Xfinity, that would be a lot of pressure on her to do well. No more excuses, says Bruce Garvey. For sure. For sure. Boneless wings are my favorite with blue cheese sauce, says OJ and toothpaste. Yeah, I'm a big blue cheese man myself. We quickly forget that RCR won 7 races the previous 2 seasons, 3 with Reddick. That's what I'm saying. 1 with Dillon and 3 with Busch. Yeah, I'm saying it's just an off year. Their cars are still fast. They're just not getting the finishes because of bad. It's just a bad luck season. Teams and drivers go through them. I think they're getting way too much flack, and I think a lot of the flack they're getting is because there's just a lot of Kyle Busch fans that are frustrated. I'm already at no excuses with Deegan, says Charlotte. Yeah, she's got to get better finishes. There's no doubt about it. Ward Burton messed up when he turned down Hendrick and signed with Haas. Yep. I can't disagree with you, Delmar. No more sweeper trucks needed. Just bring out water trucks, says like dislike. BB add Wingstop to the list of sponsors. Never had it before. Maybe Buffalo Wild Wings, the sponsor list as well. I would go Buffalo Wild Wings over Wingstop. I'll just go ahead and tell you that. But yeah, for sure. McDonald's is shutting 60,000 restaurants because of the minimum wage in Cali, says OJ and toothpaste. Yeah, that being said, they've also made more money than they've ever made. So a little bit of that is just them being greedy as well. I got a McDouble and medium Sprite a couple weeks ago, $7.50, says OJ and toothpaste. Yeah, that's the way it's going. Unfortunately, they've I think they've tripled. I don't want to talk about it too much because it's. I watched another guy's channel, and every time he talks about it, he sort of gets the yellow dollar sign of sadness. So I don't want to talk about it too much. But they have the rate of inflation. They have tripled or doubled it in some areas. So they're not being kind of straight up. So in California, you can make that argument, but in other places where they don't have that same issue, they're still raising the prices over there too. They aren't becoming bakeries, OJ, 100%. They do that, says Duke Chronic. Brian Deegan going to have to come out of retirement to keep funding his kids' lack of talent, says Krusty. I'd like to know why tracks don't utilize vacuum trucks, says Sha. They probably just don't know about them. And to the Deegan thing, Haley Deegan raises a lot of her own money. I know she got a nice head start because of who her dad was, but I feel like if you just look at the number of subscribers on a YouTube channel, you look at the traffic she gets, she generates a lot of her own business herself. So I will stick up for her there, but she does need to get better finishes on the racetrack. And I mean, she's doing all the right things. She just needs to get the finishes. Like she's getting lots of seat time. She's racing other series. It's just not translating just yet. So she's got to get the finishes to show for it. I had Buffalo Wild Wings before. Says in between the lanes, Wingstop is way better than Buffalo Wild Wings. Says OJ and toothpaste. Okay, so that's a controversial take, OJ. That's a controversial take. I'll go Buffalo Wild Wings because they've got better wing sauces than Wingstop. Wingstop's way cheaper though, and they're usually closer to where I'm at. It's long, but a good thing NASCAR has taken RDJ notes. Learn from the mistakes. Hello, hell, says Jeff Wesleyan. Don't worry about KFB. He's got a field right where he wants them. All part of the plan. Says like this, like yeah, he's laid back. He's got him to relax, and now he's going to pounce. He's set the trap, and now he is about to pounce. I see Kyle Busch getting out of his contract with RCR. Says Delmar Kaufman. I mean, maybe, but where is he going to go? I don't know how many. I don't know how many offers are actually going to be out there. It's going to be interesting to see who offers him something. Maybe front row. Does he want to go to front row and try that out over there? It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Billion serve, says Krusty. Robert Downey Jr. notes. I knew who you meant by RDJ, my friend. But yeah, old Robert Downey Jr. BB, what diecast you wish had that is super rare or too expensive? The City Chevrolet from William Byron, and all of the old Days of Thunder diecasts, every single one that was ever made. Like, dislike, laughing my butt off. Such the optimist. I like it. Yeah, I mean, she's hot, says Krusty. I mean, that doesn't hurt. But also, you know, who her dad was also helped, and she does generate plenty of content on YouTube. That can't be overlooked either. Her doing what she does and then still putting out 2 produced videos that she and her boyfriend produce by themselves. That's a pretty good workload. I won't lie to you. Sponsor list so far in 2025: Reese's Fine Foods, Mike and Ike's, Jersey Mike's, Barstool Sports, and Buffalo Wild Wings. Am I missing any sponsors? I think we're good for right now. We're good for right now. We might get Metal Militia on there as well. See if they're interested. Let's see. It depends on the location because we need those free DC shoes. It depends on location. If both Buffalo Wild Wings and Wingstop care about the food, Buffalo Wild Wings should be better. Oh, good point. Good point, Helio. Or hello, 9797. I'm just going to call you 97. So yeah, that's a good point. Buffalo Wild Wings is another one that varies drastically in quality of food. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Delmar Kaufman for what though? I could see if there was a real better offer on the table. Oh, BB said it. Says Charlotte. Yeah, that's my only point. It would depend on what the other offer on the table is because people like to make it out like RCR is terrible equipment, but it's not. BB, are you excited for all these election commercials coming soon? Says OJ and toothpaste. I hate them. I've had the same one. If I don't even vote in Virginia, but I'm so close to the line that I get all the Virginia commercials, and I don't know who Dan Helmer is. I don't know what platform he's running on. I don't even know if he's a Democrat or a Republican or a porcupine or whatever he is. But I don't like him because every time I turn on YouTube, it's a God blessed Dan Helmer commercial, and I don't like Dan Helmer anymore. So he can bump off. I wish I could vote in Virginia just so I could vote for anybody that's not named Dan Helmer. So if you're in Virginia, vote against Dan Helmer, unless that's who you like and that's how your political affiliation goes. But I'm tired of his commercials, and he sucks because it's like every freaking video, dude. It's like the Coke. You got to try it first. Like that's literally the level of the Dan Helmer commercials on my YouTube channel right now. Smoke would be pissed if Ford let Front Row Motorsports sign KFB, says Charlotte. Good for her, says Duke Chronic. She's earned it. Let's see. Better have a poop plan in place for a Wingstop, says Krusty. So Colin cleanse Krusty when he goes to Wingstop. James Melee, no, not back to JGR. In between the lanes, BB wants Long John Silver's too. Yeah, oh yeah, we got to get Long John Silver's for sure. Wings Beer Sports at Buffalo Wild Wings. Yeah, I mean, if you're going for the sit down experience, for sure, Buffalo Wild Wings is better. What could be interesting is if Kyle Busch goes back to JGR, swapping the 18 to Hamlin to 2311. Yeah, so that's the other one that's in play. If 2311 gets a seat to open up, and they don't want to go with Corey Heim right now, maybe you go with Corey Heim and see what he does a couple seasons in the Xfinity Series. That gives you a couple seasons with Kyle Busch over there. And his brother has already been over there at 2311, so he knows it's good equipment. He knows he would probably like it over there. So that's the other thing. That's the only thing I could see really maybe taking him out of. And there's been the rumors about that. So Kyle Busch has the full season next year, but 2311 doesn't care about such things because they took Tyler Reddick when he had a full season with RCR left as well. So if 2311 can get their hands on a charter, that could be a situation where you could see Kyle Busch get dislodged from RCR. But as an RCR fan, I hope not. That DraftKings scheme would look good as a diecast as in between the lanes. I think they've made one similar to this before, and I think it has been offered as a diecast. I don't know if it got produced or not, though. It might have been did not produce. Kyle Busch to Petty Enterprises, says Delmar Kaufman, where Legacy Motor Club, they might be interested in him, but I don't know the way they're running. I don't know that Kyle Busch would be interested in them. Not as bad as Dade Phelan race we had today. They were sending 7 ads a day, says Cody Ledger. Yeah, that's it's always like one politician that overdoes it with the commercials. And I feel like Dan Helmer in my region is the one that's overdoing it. BB, will Bubba make the playoffs? Nah, or nah, LOL, says OJ and Toothpaste. Flip a coin, dude. Like, he's got some tracks that are good for him. I think he'll have to, well, I'm not going to say he has to win because he's like right there on the cut line. It's hard to say because there might be another driver that's outside of the playoffs that makes it. There's a lot of scenarios, but I feel like his best chance is going to be to either win a super speedway or a short track race for Bubba to get in, because it's really just going to be a roll of the dice gamble. Who has trouble? Who doesn't have trouble in these next few races? But he's got as good a chance as anybody. He finished 10th in points last year, so I mean, if he can get that consistency back, he should be okay. BB, is this the reason I come to you? I'm sick of the elections already, says Bruce Garvey. I'll tell you what was like the only time it's ever been worse than this was when I was in Maricopa County in 2022 watching Joey Logano win the championship. Good Lord Almighty, the Carrie Lake and whoever that other woman she was running against, I can't even call her name. This is how much I pay attention to politics. But God bless America. There was freaking commercial after commercial after commercial after commercial over there when I was in that area. I swear to goodness, that was probably worse than Dan Helmer. What WTF is Dan Helmer, says Chris. He's a politician in Virginia. I just don't know what kind or what he does. I don't even know what he's running for. I just know it's in Virginia, and I can't vote for it because if I could, I would vote for whoever's running against him just because I'm tired of seeing his face. BB, and he served in some service. I think he was a Marine or something like that. But so credit to him for that. But other than that, tired of seeing his commercials, and I would vote against him. BB, what are any paint schemes that you see on the track? Would you like to see become diecasts? The gold Josh Berry car. I like that one. I thought that was a good one. SHR 14 and 4 and 2 and 3 still finish strong and fast, says John Forrester. I got 3 months of YouTube Premium. I may never go back. Screw them commercials, says Charlotte. Yeah, if I do a little better financially, I might join you there. BB, who has the best Baja fish tacos? Oh, that's a good question. I can't say that I've ever had a Baja fish taco. Wonder what's going on with Trackhouse lately, especially with Ross. Feel like Ross should have at least one win so far, says Mustang. Ross has been super consistent, but he hasn't contended for too many wins here. KFB to the 43, owned by Jimmy Johnson, a true legacy motor club. That would be pretty cool. I just don't know that their equipment is any better. I feel like their equipment is worse, or the way they're setting up their equipment is worse than what RCR is doing right now. No, I'm saying Kyle Busch driving the 11 instead of Hamlin, and Hamlin to 2311. I think Hamlin's going to stay. He's going to stay at Joe Gibbs until he retires. That's what I think. Him and Joe Gibbs, it's almost like a father-son. It's a weird father-son type relationship. So I think he'll stay there until he retires. I don't know that he'll ever drive for himself. Even though he might drive for himself part-time, but he'll never drive for himself full-time. I should amend that. I can only bend and I feel like he's got another 4 to 6 years. I feel like he'll retire sort of close to when he's 50, and then he'll run part-time. He'll sort of be like Cale Yarborough was when he got out of the car. Can only been the so many fenders before you got a tire rub, says Krusty. BB Brad Keselowski said Connor Zilic is the best upcoming talent. Is he going to be as good as you think? Crystal Ball? I think he's pretty solid driver for sure. No doubt about that. I don't know if he's going to be as good as they hype him up so much. The last person they hyped up like this was Joey Logano, and Joey Logano, as good as he is, nobody could live up to the hype that they gave Joey Logano. I feel like they're kind of accidentally doing the same thing to Connor Zilic. Haas could join 2311. They could. That's a good point. But according to Bob Pockrass, they're going to stay with Ford. Martin Truex Jr. Has not said I retire. Has he? Duke Chronic, he has. He came out the other week and said he was going to retire. Chastain to the 14 of his 15 seconds of fame on second 14 of his 15 seconds of fame, says Krusty. Katie Hobbs. Yeah, Katie Hobbs and Carrie Lake. Those were the two that Maricopa County, I swear to God, every commercial was one or the other when I was down there for the race. Jesus for Presidente, says Joe Sample. I don't know about down south, but if you get upstate New York, get your wings at a local bar, way better than national rest. Oh yeah, 100%. Like if you go to any local place, it's the same way down south. We're just going off of stuff that everybody knows. Because I could name off some local restaurants, but everybody be like, what? What's that? Bubbles is out, says Duke Chronic. So Duke Chronic has him out. Sodom for president, says Krusty. Good points for Bubba. Says Duke Chronic. BB is Del Taco, king of the tacos, says OJ and Toothpaste. They're okay. Like I feel like that's another one that gets overhyped. Like I'm from North Carolina, so I overhype Bojangles. I feel like Del Taco gets overhyped as well. Score point, says Duke Chronic. Okay, fine. I won't mention porcupines anymore, says Shy. I could care less about porcupines. I'm just saying I don't know. I don't know what Dan Helmer is, if he's a Republican or Democrat. Somebody can look that up if they really are that interested in it. Dan Helmer, Virginia. He's running for some type of office, and he runs too many commercials on my YouTubes. Will Christopher Bell retire with JGR? I would say so, but I also thought that Kyle Busch was going to retire with JGR, so take that for what it is. Let's go. Brandon applies to Denny Hamlin, says Dennis Gillespie. I don't know what that means. Have you heard of American Ninja Warrior? Says Dawson Fair. I have heard of American Ninja Warrior. Let's go, Denny Hamlin. Says Krusty. Cale Yarber making race car sounds while driving was classic. Cale Yarber is the man, bro. One of my all-time favorites. Come on, John Force, says Duke Chronic. I don't remember. I remember him vaguely racing. I missed his entire greatness of his career, but the more I read and learn about him, like he's rapidly becoming one of my favorites. Curtis Turner is another one I'm learning about. This Curtis Pops Turner becoming one of my favorites. At least Martin Truex Jr. was still able to be in the field in 2025, even though it's part-time. BB, how a scale of 1 to 10, how mad and annoyed are you today with the NASCAR during the rain flag? I was pretty disappointed in the whole second half of the race, to be honest with you. If it wasn't for Brad K's spin, Josh Berry was catching up, so 9, at least a 9. If it wasn't for Brad K's spin, Josh Berry was catching up with Bill. Yeah, and if it wasn't for Chase Briscoe either being a good teammate or a bad teammate, depending on which team you consider him to be a teammate of right now. If Chase Briscoe had realized he had the third place car and let Josh Berry go, Josh Berry might could have made it interesting there at the end for Christopher Bell, at least for a few laps. I still think Christopher Bell would have won though. Taco Bell 300 says Krusty. Did you know that John Force is in the hospital right now? I did. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Hopefully he's okay, and we lifted him up today for sure. Scary crash for the 75-year-old John Force. What I saw was Denny blocking for his car. BB, you ever had In-N-Out Burger? Is it the best? In-N-Out Burger is pretty good. I do like it. I will say this though: Californians overhype it, just like North Carolinians overhype Bojangles, and I feel like anywhere Texans overhype Whataburger. Everybody has their regional thing that they're like, oh my god, you got to try this; it's so good, and then it just never lives up to the hype. But it is good. It was really good. Way too filling. I don't know how you guys do double doubles over there. Like everybody's like, you got to get the double double, dude. I got one. I got one In-N-Out Burger with just the fries, and I was like, holy crap! Like it's a lot of food. So you guys throwing down double doubles with a shake, good for y'all. Good for y'all. Y'all run 12 miles before you wake up in the morning. That's how y'all stay small. Brad Keselowski can mess up a wet tire dream, says Krusty. Good save, VB, says Dennis Gillespie. With only 7 races left, I don't even know what I was saving, but thank you. With only 7 races left before the playoffs, do you think it's time to hit the panic button for teams who haven't locked a playoff spot yet? I think it's still up for grabs, man. I mean, with a win and you're in, anything can happen. Can we all agree? Martin Trix Jr. is America's fisherman. Says in between the lanes. Him or Ryan Newman. Pick one or the other. Ryan Newman's a pretty stout fisherman as well. Yeah, Dawson, any updates, says Krusty. Just an update on John Forrest. He's still in ICU, but stable and able to talk. Uh, I think this may be it for him, says Bumblebee. It for him as far as racing goes. Hopefully. Hopefully that's what you're talking about. Duke Chronic, LOL. Kyle Busch is having a bad summer so far. Yikes! Yeah, it's been a hell year for RCR. Period. Hopefully they get a priest to ward off all the demons. They just had some bad luck. Do you like Carrie Underwood's music? And do you like her? I can't even tell you a single song she sings other than the Monday Night Football theme song. No, she no. There was that one song. I dug my keys into the side of his four-wheel drive or whatever. That song, they played it too much and it annoyed me. So she gets put on the list of annoying. Let's see. As for the race, that was good. Just micromanaging at its worst. Yeah, the micromanaging ruined it for me. When something is built up, but you can't live up to the hype, we call that star washing or something, says say Kyle. There you go. There you go. That's probably what it is. I like Ruby Tuesday for a while. Unfortunately, not seen anymore in Connecticut. Ruby Tuesday, when it first came out, back when malls existed, Ruby Tuesday was a really good place to eat. Fun fact about Ruby Tuesday, I don't know if it's true or not, but I've seen the meme before. Ruby Tuesday when it was invented by a guy that lived near some really good looking women in his area. So he made a Ruby Tuesday as a way to try to meet those women and try to date one of them or something like that. You can look it up. I think it's close to true. I think Josh Berry or if it's not Ruby Tuesday, it's one or the other. I think Josh Berry to the 34 car, then the 21 car. But what is your take? I have no idea where anybody's going. I just read off the rumors that I think are legitimate, that somebody actually knows something, and then I'm just going to sit back here and wait. I have no inside information. I have no clue where anybody's going. Amen. Bumblebee tomorrow ain't given, especially when you ride in a steel coffin at 75 years old. Carrie Underwood has nice legs. Just saying, says Delmar Kaufman. I mean, there's a difference between looking at somebody and listening to somebody. Yes, I think he's going to retire, says Bumblebee. In and out is good. Yeah, in and out's definitely good. My 130-pound body can eat animal style double with cheese and fries. Yum yum. Before he cheats, BB says in between the lanes. Now he has some tasty looking chicken wings, says Krusty. So OJ's got some chicken wings going on too, for sure. He's got the wing stop going, and now he's thinking about eating some In-N-Out burger. My man's got the metabolism of the Flash. Carrie, I'm admitting to vandalism. Underwood, yeah. You never tell on yourself. Like she's as bad as the gangster rappers talking about who they sent to heaven or whatnot, or maybe they didn't send them to heaven. Maybe they sent them somewhere else. I don't know. How does that work? BB, do you like the new Taylor Swift song featuring Post Malone? Freaking terrible. Well, I like Post Malone. So if he can't save it, nobody can. Star Warsing. I got you. Says say Kyle, I got you. They Star Warsed it. Okay, I'm not. Okay, I'm going there. I had a few beers. FJB and Denny Hamlin, says Dennis. So there you go. Dennis is tired of political ads as well, apparently. Good woman, only asking for it. Says Krusty. I have to go look into that, says James. Do you like Kaz Gorilla? I do like Kaz Gralla. I think he's a really good driver. Hopefully he can get. He's at Rick Ware Racing next year too, and can continue to build on what they're doing. I got my first boat race in Alton, Illinois today. Just remember the 19 is taken. This chat's got me craving beer and wings, says Bruce Carvey. Me too. Danica Patrick is pretty, but she looks that way. Northern Pikes, says Shaw. OJ and Toothpaste laughing. My man got some good medical. A rapper, Krusty might be onto something there. I'm not sure. I can neither confirm nor deny OJ's situation right now. A rapper got sent to the sky last night on his birthday. Oh, that's terrible, man. That stinks. This weekend in Tampa, dudes are getting wild with the pew-pews. Yeah, summertime comes out and people's tempers get short for some reason. Wintertime is too cold to go out and do anything stupid. BB, what's the best twisted tea flavor? The regular. I just like the regular old twisted tea. That was always my go-to. Can't drink but one or two of them though because they get too sweet. Good day for Legacy MC. Both cars in the top 13. Joe Nemechek and Eric Jones. Bruce, cheers. She ain't pretty, says Duke Chronic, referring to Danica Patrick. Yeah, sometimes your attitude ruins it. Let me pull up the Ruby Tuesday story and see if I'm accurate about that. Because somebody was asking about it. Ruby Tuesday origin story. Here we go. Oh yeah, it's checking out so far. This is what we got so far. Ruby Tuesdays was born out of a $10,000 endowment Sandy Beal had received from a friend and operator of several Pizza Huts to open his own restaurant. Beal took the name from the Rolling Stones song Ruby Tuesday after a suggestion by one of several fraternity brothers who were co-investors. I'm going to go ahead with just that information alone and confirm that the story I just told you is 100% true. Let's see. Oh, and now the rest of it is Ruby Tuesday, the song. So let me. What's a better way of googling this? Let's see. Ruby Tuesday restaurant. Can't spell. Made to meet women. Mwah, 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 mwah. Let's see. Uh, that pulled up a bunch of other crap that I didn't want to see. I'm gonna go ahead and say the story's right though. I will find the actual story for the next skip the ads here. I'll find the actual story for the next live stream though. Let's see. I wouldn't kick her out of bed. Says like dislike. What do you think of Bojangles hard tea? Never tried it. Yeah, you ought to try dry twisted tea light. Says Ryan Fussner. Best shirt ever. No matter how hot she is, somebody somewhere is sick of her. Says say Kyle. Like dislike. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't use my bed. Says Shah. Danica has a vineyard. She can sell 100 million stacks. James Melee saying okay, BB. I'll find it eventually for you, James. Uh, I want to say I saw it on cracked.com or something like that, but I'll try to remember. It's one of those really old websites, which sometimes are true and sometimes they're not. Let's see. Twisted tea is made with swamp water and peat moss, says Krusty. Do you know the main characters of American Ninja Warrior? I sure do not know the main characters of American Ninja Warrior. It depends on which one you're watching, I guess, because they've had several seasons of it. BB, who has Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was on there one time though. BB, who has the worst pizza, Chuck E. Cheese or Little Caesars? Little Caesars all day. Little Caesars is the worst pizza ever made on earth. They take cardboard and grind it down, and that's how they get their crust. And then they put fake cheese on top of it, and they cook it until it melts. And it's always hot and fresh because if you ever let the cheese get cold, it'll turn into a brick that you could build a house out of. Little Caesars is the worst pizza on the face of the planet. Hey, Little Caesars, if you want to sponsor the channel, let us know. We would love to work with you. Your pizza is delicious. BB is Todd. Tillin's the pickle. BB is Todd. Todd the pickle car. The best scheme of the weekend. Yeah, I'm going with Pickle Todd. Pickle Todd for the best car. Todd Gilliland. I got you now, my friend. Yes, Todd Gilliland, Pickle Todd. Pickle Todd is the best car of the weekend, and he is now going to be Pickle Todd for the rest of his career. Ruby Tuesday salad bar is the definition of 1998 chain restaurant, cigarette butts, and under the table gum included. Says Krusty. Facts. Is the 20 car the car to beat at Phoenix with their flat track dominance, says say Kyle? I would say so as of right now. If you're going to go off the four that all have 3 wins, I would say he is overall performed the best at Phoenix over the years. Todd Gilliland and team are eating pickles near the 38 pickle car. Pickle Todd is in the house doing Pickle Todd things. OJ and Toothpaste, I laugh my butt off. So what you're saying is Little Caesars is the best on earth too. Little Caesars is definitely the best on earth too. Little Caesars on earth too is the best restaurant on the planet. It is a sit-down dining experience. Something like you eat at the Four Seasons. It is chef's kiss delicious on earth too. Slick Rick is a ninja. Well, now I have to a whole new respect, says Shy. Yeah, look it up. You can look up the episode. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was on American Ninja Warrior. He got like a decent part of the way. He didn't make it all the way through the course. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Little Caesars laughing my butt off rant. Says OJ and Toothpaste Pickle Rick. That's right, Shaw. Pickle Rick. He now has a brother, Pickle Todd. Pickle Todd and Pickle Rick. Say Kyle, the Little Caesars skipping pizza on the lake was a god tier comment. LOL, says say Kyle. Do you like Toddler Gilliland? I do like Pickle Todd Gilliland. Pickle Todd is the man, Dawson. I love Little Caesars, says Dennis Gillespie. So Dennis likes Little Caesars on Earth One and Earth Two. BB, what's better, Little Caesars versus Burger King? Burger King all day. Kurger Bing. Delmar Kaufman, I guess I'm old because at least Burger King has the original chicken sandwich, and they have, which is like in a sub sandwich version, and they do have the Whopper. The Whopper, even though it's going to make you feel bad for the rest of the day, it does at least taste good going down 50% of the time. I guess I'm old, but it's hard to keep up with all the different paint schemes every week. Can we go back to Petty Blue and Dayglow Orange? Says Delmar Kaufman. I do wish there was some more sponsor identity with more drivers these days. Little Caesars on Earth 2 is basically what Taco Bell was in Demolition Man. Hey, there you go. Good point. Good point, say Kyle. And oddly enough, Taco Bell cantinas are actually pretty close to Demolition Man Taco Bell's. Although new Taco Bell's getting rid of the in dining experience. So Taco Bell's from here on out, they'll just be basically be either drive through or basically ghost kitchens where you just get food and they deliver it to you. Little Caesars on Earth 2 is like Hell's Kitchen, says OJ and Toothpaste. Have you heard of Culver's fast food restaurant? I have heard of Culver's. It's very good. Do you eat there sometimes? I've never eat there, but I've heard a lot of people talk about how good Culver's is. KB8 is lucky Ninja Rick didn't break out the moves. Says Shy. Yeah, he was. If he hadn't got tripped up, by the mountain, by the RCR mountain, he would have done some things. Culver has great cheese curds. That's what everybody says, OJ and Toothpaste. Culver, everybody's talking about the cheese curds. And it always reminds me of Culver City, and I think that's in California, if I'm not mistaken. Can you please take off your hat for a second? I can. I've taken off my hat for 1 second. There you go. Let's see. Taco Bell going the way of Checkers. Interesting, says say Kyle. Indeed. And some restaurants are just in trouble, period, and might go away. Nashville, Chicago Street, Pocono, Brickyard, the next four races, chances to win, looking for drivers winning into the chase. So yeah, the road course is going to be interesting because somebody could pick up a win there. Pocono is always a crapshoot. You're either going to hit it or you're not. The Brickyard, you're either going to hit it or you're not. So those are definitely some races that could be very interesting. Nashville is going to be a crapshoot too, because you just never know. BB, will Rick Hendrick bring back Kyle Busch? I don't know. I feel like Alex Bowman is still under contract, so I don't know. The only situation I could see, since everybody wants to entertain it, the only situation I could see Kyle Busch going back to Hendrick would be if you think Rajah Caruth is going to be there in the next 2 or 3 years, and you knew for sure that Kyle Busch was going to retire in the next 2 or 3 years. That's the only situation I see where you bring Kyle Busch over there to the 48 for a few seasons until Rajah gets there. Dude, I've never heard of half the sponsors in NASCAR now. I'd say you deserve a name brand, top-notch sponsor to fund your Man Cave YouTube podcast. More so than ever. Appreciate your platform to showcase. Appreciate you there, Krusty. It's there's a lot of brand new sponsors to NASCAR, and hopefully some stay for longer, because I feel like if you stop doing the one-off races and you make it a dedication thing, even like Wendy's does like 2 or 3 races a year. Like if you do the Wendy's thing, you don't have to sponsor every race, but just be there every single year, and you eventually build that up. Like I talk about with Tide all the time. There's people that still buy Tide because of either Darrell Waltrip, Ricky Craven, Ricky Rudd, Kevin Harvick drove it a little bit. I mean, just name the drivers that drove the old Tide ride there. Are you getting a haircut soon? I might get a haircut soon. We'll have to figure out some type of bet for the haircut. We're getting Culver's. My girlfriend loves that place. I guess we'll be getting fat. Says Delmar or Delmer. I'm not exactly sure how to say your name. I've been saying Delmar, but it could be Delmer. I've probably been saying it wrong the whole time. So my apologies, Mr. Kaufman. BB, have you been to Area 51? And if not, what are they hiding? Earth 2 portal. I have been past Area 51. I have not stopped at Area 51 because reasons. So, and we'll leave it at that. What's your date of birth, BB? It's the same this year as it is every year. It is Thanksgiving Day. Every leap year, I want to say. Chastain's best chance is Nashville, says Ryan Fussner. Dawson about to be running background checks over here. Yeah, like I don't know what CIA agency or Homeland Security Dawson's working for, but he's trying to get all the details to have my house swatted or something. BB doesn't get haircuts; he just lets his hair grow to what length. it will be and how it will look. Yeah, I really don't touch my hair at all. I wash it, throw on a hat, and we get to rolling. BB is Chuck Norris. I'm not Chuck Norris for sure. Cookout, best fast food, pants pants down, says Krusty. And I know what you meant, but pants down's way funny. So that's a great joke right there. I'm going to use that from now on when I'm saying hands down. I'm just going to say pants down. Don't shoot. Uh, Kyle Busch to Haas F1 team. Hey, there you go. There you go. Tide breaks me out into hives. Well, other than that. So maybe you can use Purex or whatever Jeff Burton used to drive in the Busch series. BB, what do you think of Larson or Gain? Gain, that's what it is. Purex was Lake Speed, I want to say. BB, what did you think of Larson saying F you to a spotter, OJ and Toothpaste? I'm glad you brought that up. The reason he got mad about it, you never see Kyle Larson get mad. And typically, if you think about it, a lot of times when you get mad because the person was right. Kyle Larson got mad because he knew the spotter was right. Let's see. In my opinion, I don't want to speak for him. I worry as more races go behind the paywall, there will be less sponsorship. I hope not. Odds are Earth 2 Portal is probably like Branson or Pigeon Forge. LOL, says say Kyle. Sucks having sensitive skin. Yeah, I'm sure it does. My mom's allergic to a lot of stuff too, so I understand that. BB, what's your opinion on AI? I don't like it. I don't like it either, but it's here, so we're gonna have to deal with it. I based a lot of my opinions on what I buy off of NASCAR sponsors. Me too. I will drive past Lowe's to get to Home Depot, right in a timeshare office. Says say Kyle. Artificial intelligence, says OJ and Toothpaste. Let's see. Yeah, I knew what you meant. Dawson Fair saying, "Do you like to drink sweet tea?" Sweet tea is okay. Like it's another thing that gets overrated in the South. It's basically hummingbird water, is what we call sweet tea down here. I like it, but it's I don't know. I have to basically make it, to be honest. Pyrex, Lake Speed, says Delmore Kaufman. From Culver's, I should say, says Dawson Fair. I've never had Culver sweet tea. I haven't eaten there yet. I remember decades ago, products would only have NASCAR on them as endorsements. They were good products. Yeah, that's true. That was a good seal of approval back in the day. OJ and Toothpaste saying I agree. Cluck's Chicken says Krusty. Got to be the Publix sweet tea for me, says say Kyle. Publix is good now. Publix, if you've never tried Publix, get on the old Pub Sub. I went to Florida and found out we've got Publix in North Carolina. Like all my friends were like, "We've got Publix in North Carolina, you dumbass." I was like, "Okay, well, whatever, man." I was like, "Y'all were holding out because you didn't tell me." All my North Carolina friends didn't tell me they had subs. So at least my Florida friends told me they had subs. North Carolina friends. But let's see. We have no Wendy, or and at least they told me Publix existed. Like, so I don't know. We have no Wendy's my side of the island, but we have a coupon for Wendy's chili. I can eat at the local store, but will be first time in 10 years. Wendy's chili is pretty good, but you gotta there's a timer. Once you get that's any chili. Once you get the chili in you got a timer. You got a certain amount of time. That's going to be held on there. So that's going to have to be a late lunch situation if you're working in an office. You got it right, Delmer. Thanks, says Delmer Kaufman. Let's see. BB, you don't wear the shirt. I see someone thought you were supporting tonight. Says OJ and Toothpaste. Yeah, I don't know. People get weird around political season. I don't know. I wore an Under Armour shirt, and somebody said I was making a political statement, and I was just wearing an Under Armour shirt. So it is what it is. Election season, people get wild. After watching the race today, I think I can say NASCAR isn't using AI, says Bruce Garvey. BB is Wendy's commercials the most annoying, Liberty or Coca-Cola. I'm still going to go Ram Heart Like a Truck. Like, I got so tired of that Heart Like a Truck. That was actually because they wore it out. But I would say other than that, Liberty Bibberty probably got to be the worst one. It will be weird not seeing a 4-car on the track next year. I remember number from Swerve Irvin for years. Yeah, old Ernie Irvin. Who's to say it's not going to be on the track though? So it's a lot of season left. So we'll see who grabs what numbers. Royal Farms chicken tastes like KFC back in 1983. Hardy sweet tea nowadays is half sweet, half unsweet, says Delmer. For sure. Unfortunately, Harrison Burton now has a better average finish than Haley Deegan in the Xfinity Series, says Dawson Fair. Haley Deegan catching strays here today. She had a really bad race, and she is this weekend, and she's really she's catching hell, man. More so than normal. BB, when will John Hunter Nemechek win his first racing cup? Says OJ. I don't know. North Carolina people, just that's a place to buy. Maybe never OJ and toothpaste. I'm gonna be honest with you. North Carolina people, just it's a place to buy groceries. We know it's a really for subs engaging how bad a hurricane is going. To be based off if it's closed or not, kind of like Awful House. Yeah, Waffle House is one of my. You know what? I'll put Waffle House right up there with Hot and Ready, Little Caesars. Little Caesars used to be really good back in the day. I will say that, but whenever they got bought out and changed ownership or whatever, they went downhill quick. Just think of that. Says say Kyle. Do chronic LOL BB for president, says Dennis Gillespie. I don't know if I'm ready for that kind of responsibility. Dodge Ram is the most unreliable gas truck ever. Stuff breaks all the time, says OJ and toothpaste. Everything but the engine. The electronics go out, the brakes might go out, but the engine will run forever. Transmission breaks, everything else suspect. Does Chevy still do the like a rock truck commercials, says Charlotte? I haven't seen one in a long time. What's political about Under Armour? I'm from Baltimore. That's all we wear. I don't know, like dislike. It was such a weird comment. It was such a stray. The guy might have been drinking. I don't know. Like I was, you're with me. He said what he said, and I just you know what? I just hit the like button and I gave him the thumbs up. Like, whatever. Like, what more can you say when something says somebody insane? Let's see. My flatulence contributes to climate change every day, says Krusty. I root for Haley, but even I think she's running her last year. It's been a bad all year. And I don't know that the car is necessarily good, but she's definitely got to get better finishes than what she's got. And I agree. But she's caught hell more this year than I've ever seen. So a Ford can get the job done with an F-150, while a Chevy and Dodge need a 1500. Says Delmar Kaufman. Ford's look, man. Ford's another one that breaks down a lot. When Ford went away from their 5.8 engine, their reliability went down quite a bit. Well, they had the 5.0, then they had the straight six and the 5.8. When they went away from their pushrod engines, Ford's reliability went down quite a bit. I will say that until you got to the 250 levels and stuff like that. 250s are always pretty solid for Ford. BB, who will win first in Cup, Zane Smith or John Hunter Nemechek? Gonna be a tight battle. John Hunter Nemechek's making up some ground here, but Zane's off to a strong start. What's your favorite manufacturer right now? None of them sponsor me, so I really don't have one. Like whoever. I guess I pull for Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch, so Chevrolet, but also pull for Eric Jones and Richard Petty, so Toyota also. But you know what? There's several. We got Pickle Todd. In the 38, and Cole Custer if they would bring him back to Cup. That would be my Ford guys. Josh Berry. I do kind of like SHR. I did like Tony Stewart when he drove, so SHR. But now I got nothing over there to pull for, so we'll have to rearrange it. Joey Logano, he's a good driver. I like pulling for him because it triggers people. Denny Hamlin, he triggers people, so I like pulling for him too. Let's see. Piggly Wiggly sponsorship from the. I guess I pull for drivers more so than manufacturers now, but I do still like to keep track of the manufacturer deal. Ross Chastain, he's fun to watch too. Let's see. Piggly Wiggly sponsorship from the from them be a win, bro. BB says Krusty. Yeah, Piggly Wiggly would be the bomb.com. Piggly Wiggly, I'm sticking with the pig. That's huge if you're at the Outer Banks. Piggly Wiggly is that's like the only grocery store I see when you go to the Outer Banks, which is the beaches here in North Carolina, not the TV show that they film in South Carolina, because the real Outer Banks don't have palm trees. Side ran over. Little Caesars is the colon cleansing, not Wingstop, says OJ and toothpaste. Meth lab down the street, says Krusty. BB, what's better, Ford, Maverick? That might have got us in trouble there, Krusty. BB, what's better, Ford? He'll read anything on the screen, Ron Burgundy joke. BB, what's better, Ford Maverick or Chevy Colorado? Chevy Colorado all day, but they're both trash. OJ, what did you eat for supper tonight, BB? I had macaroni and cheese and chicken strips. BB is having the Chicago style Little Caesars pizza. Little Sleezers wings are better than Wingstop, says Krusty. Ford found on the road, passed away, says say Kyle. I feel bad for Deegan. When I heard she was going to AM Racing, I was like, that's what AM Racing. I just knew it was going to be bad, says Shy. Yeah. Kia Cup, says Krusty. Yeah, so Kia's got to be up there. I will say probably, somebody asked me what manufacturer I like. So probably manufacturer if I was buying. Toyotas have really good longevity. Chevrolet trucks have good longevity. Ford and Dodge, if you go to the 250s, actually have pretty good longevity. So that's basically how I would base stuff nowadays. And if Toyota ever brings that $1,500 truck over here, it'll be Toyota all day because you can't buy a truck over here now for less than 35 or 40 grand, and that's a small truck. BB, what track you've been to? I got a free ticket in flight. You choose, says OJ and Toothpaste. So if you wanted to go to a track, Indianapolis would be a good one. I've been to Indianapolis, but not for like a cup or an IndyCar race. Indianapolis would be a good one to go to. Watkins Glen, they say, puts on a good show. Darlington is a good one. Talladega, the infield. Like, it just depends on what you're going down there for. Let's see. I'm gonna tell myself Deegan runs bad because she's in an ugly car. That tequila pastel color car is enough to make your eyes vomit. Says say Kyle. It's not the best looking car, but it's not. I've seen worse, I guess I should say, but it's not good. It's not a lot of life to it. AM Racing needs an experience. It looks like one of those old couches that they used to have at the beach back in the early '90s. AM Racing needs an experienced racer, and Deegan needs an experienced team. Say Kyle, I am Baloney Burger. We have a Piggly Wiggly. I just love the name. Says Delmer. I plan on rocking the classic yellow BB Media shirt in Pigeon Forge July 4th. Is it political? I hope not. I hope not. Let's see. BB, will Josh Berry? I try not to be political, so hopefully I haven't been. BB, will Josh Berry get a win this year? He's doing good. It's hard to know if you're being political or not when you don't watch mainstream media anymore. You never know what's going to set somebody off. Apparently, Under Armour did something, and they've set somebody off. Let's see. Josh Berry, if he gets a win, it's probably going to be on a short track. But yeah, I think he's got a chance. Krusty, I apologize. I'll buy you a BB at Sobo Saturday to make up for it. Says Krusty. Oh, you're all good, brother. It's all good. I don't. I'm not worried about. I'm not worried about such things on live streams to be anymore. To be totally honest with you, I heard Noah Gregson was going to the 21. He might be. You never know. You never know what's going to happen. So it'll be. Whatever happens will happen. Barry was impressive today. Someone needs to sign him. We usually sit at the end of the front stretch on turn one, says Krusty. So we normally pit down there where the sellers are pitted, or we pit sort of in the middle of the track. So that's probably where we will be pitted. So that's where I will be at. But I guess if we're pushing the car, for qualifying, you can wave at us there because we'll be pretty close to turn one right then. Let's see. Who's Barry? Josh Berry, Dawson Fair. Cracked head, every valve, rattles, oil leaks every time. Chevrolet, says Delmer Kaufman. Josh Berry says like dislike. Bristol Night Race, OJ, says Ryan Fusser. Yeah, so Bristol Night Race will be another one. I think it's seller section, or my bad, Ward Burton section. So yeah, I know where you're at. Where I'm talking about where the sellers normally pit, which is at the entrance of pit road. On the front stretch, we're normally sort of near them, but not like right on top of them. We're normally kind of in the middle. But you'll see me. Just holler when we're pushing the car there for qualifying. That'll be pretty much a quieter time, and I'll probably be able to hear you. Let's see. What is a Barry? I should say, Dawson Fair. Do you want to go fishing with me one day and be friends? We're already friends, Dawson. Let's see. I think Kyle Petty actually will get the 21 now. Says OJ and Toothpaste. The 14 is hopping in the 19. Who goes with the 14? I don't know. It depends on who front row wants in it, or Gene Haas, depending on who takes that number or whatever. Barry did me good in fantasy, says Domer. BB, does Riley Herbst deserve the 2311 ride if they get a charter? Says OJ and Toothpaste. I don't know. It depends. He's bringing the sponsorship, and he's not as bad as people make him out to be. I feel like he's improved every year he's been there. So I don't know. Cool, man. Check you out at FanFest if you let me sit in the race car, says Krusty. That's not my choice. That's you have to talk to Tate and Jay about that. BB, you going to the Chicago Street Race this year? Stay with your super soaker and be safe. I mean, I come from an area where I was born and mostly raised at. It's their KDA is probably equal to Chicago. So I'm not going to it anyway, but if I did that, I would know the sections. But typically the section of Chicago you don't want to be around is near Soldier Field. And I feel like where the race is at, that's much higher up and sort of away from south side of Chicago. I got a glowy in the chat, laughing my butt off. Says, say Kyle, 14 to 2311. Briscoe to the 18 next year, not the 19. It could be Dawson Fair. I'm half Mexican and speak Spanish perfectly. Says Dawson Fair. BB, who's our spotter? Says in between lanes. That's a good question. We'll have to get somebody. We'll have to get somebody. Probably a retired race car driver would be your best bet for that. Duke Chronic says do it. Herbst getting a cup ride would be only due to sponsorship. Dude has been in a great ride and has only broken a clock right. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Says say Kyle. Barry, a very nice young man, not in a Logano kind of way. Says Krusty. BB, were you born in the hood? Says OJ and toothpaste. What's the Kid Rock line? I'm not straight out of Compton. I'm straight out the trailer. Lock the doors in that section, says Duke Chronic. Ward Burton is the spotter. BB says OJ and toothpaste. Hey, so there you go. Ward Burton on top. As long as he doesn't need to be spotting for his son there, we can probably get him to do that. Herbst family has hundreds of millions. Yeah, Terrible Herbst. They own Terrible Herbst truck stops. I know there's at least one in Las Vegas because I've seen that one before, but I can't say that I saw one. Like the closer you get to Vegas, you see a few of them. I don't know if it's like kind of more like a West Coast thing or whatever, but I haven't seen them. And I haven't driven extensively through Texas or anything like that, but I haven't seen them before Texas. So I want to say they're probably, I don't think they go any further west than Texas or further east than Texas, maybe. I haven't seen one in Texas. I feel like that's maybe the cutoff line. At least the top where Amarillo's at. That's the part of Texas that I drove through. Trailer Park Boys for life, says Shaw. Trailer Park Boys is where it's at. Can you do a tour of your house on a live stream one day? I'm not gonna do that because that's there's too many weirdos on the internet to be doing stuff like that. Herbst has hundreds of millions, says Duke Chronic. Barry could learn how to be a corporate a whore watching how Joey keeps lips around the head of a pop, says Krusty. Ward grew up in the south side of the house, says Delmar. Yeah, that's why he has the different accent. OJ saying Dawson Y. Who's Taco Bell, says Dawson Fair. That would be who was the last person to drive it? Was it Michael McDowell or Todd G? One or the other. They were the last ones to drive the Taco Bell car. Krusty laughing my butt off. Switched from laptop to desktop as my mom is hoping to go to sleep. LOL. OJ for real. DCIP Addy. Probably LMAO, says Kyle. Dawson, you're being hella weird, says OJ. Jeff definitely grew up north of the Ward Dixon line, says Krusty. And OJ said weird LMAO. Chad is circling the drain. Go to bed, guys, says Ron Fuster. And that looks like we have reached the end of the chat. Micromanaged to death, 54%, 55%. And that's where it's going to end. 17% for every aspect of it was a disaster. 11%, I don't know, I was getting snacks. 18% saying, I feel alive again. It was so good. All right, that's going to do it for that one. I'll check you guys later. Get ready for the episode tomorrow, and peace.